All right, it's the Illini Basketball Podcast, episode number 104, Thursday, March 3rd, game day, first game of the month of March, which is always apparently the greatest month there is in college basketball, which I think it's fair to say.
I think it's the greatest month there is ever.
Well, you have a birthday that month, so that's kind of biased. So,
true.
Something to think about with that. But
not wrong.
Yeah, I kind of forgot that we hadn't even talked about the Michigan game on the podcast, even though it feels like the game was like a month ago. But
yeah, you kind of did that thing where you talked about it right afterwards on Twitter.
Nobody's tuning in.
I'm sure that you probably won't remember any of this game. I barely remember most of it. So
I remember the first half and the end, I think.
Yeah.
I think everything else didn't count.
True. Yeah, so Illinois gets a win at Michigan, big win.
Is that 3 in a row at Michigan?
I believe so, yeah.
Because you had the IO buzzer beater in 2020. You had last year's dominance and then this year. Yeah. And the other two would be this year's home game and then the home game before that. So,
yeah.
Post-Beeline has been pretty good for Illinois.
Yes, it has. And I think the biggest thing about this game was how good the offense looked. You had Hawkins and Bello coming off the bench. They both looked pretty good. I'd say pretty much everybody looked all right. Grandison and DeMonte maybe not as good, but the guys that are supposed to produce your offense produced offense. So player of the game. Let's get her done. Trent Frazier. So yep. I picked. That's who you got?
Yep.
All right.
Easy pick.
Yeah. 38 minutes. So all but 2 minutes the man played. 6-11 from the field. He was perfect from behind the arc for 3 for 3. Hit that crossover dagger that he's done, that he did against Michigan State too. Illini basketball production team. Great job on that. It's cold in Michigan or whatever that is. Cold silence. I don't know. But that was fantastic. 2 of 3 from the free throw line, 17 points, 2 rebounds, 3 assists, and a steal. Brad said about his 3, quote, that was a dude making a play. So
I wish he'd have more confidence to do that in the situation of the Ohio State game, but
yeah,
you got it done this time.
I don't know. I still wish he would have just taken a 3 in the Ohio State game, but it is.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there. That was weird.
But yeah, overall, I thought he had a really good game. Not the leading scorer, but I think it was about time that we gave him credit for being the guy that is finishing games for Illinois. So Illinois again, I think they had a 15-point lead at one time. Let Michigan just scrape their way back in. Still haven't found the way, as Frazier put it, to step on their necks. But you win. Illinois shot 71% in the first half of this game. Finished the game with around 57%. So pretty good. They almost shot better from 3 than they did from the free throw line, however. So
not ideal, I would say.
Yeah, 59% from 3, 60% from the line. That's my biggest worry about this team, especially when it comes to tournament time, is losing games at the free throw line. Both them and Michigan shot 25 free throws. Michigan, however, made 22, while Illinois only made 15. So there's 7 points you basically just given the other team for free. And one of the big parts was Kofi. Kofi, it was 5 of 9 from the free throw line. The only guy that was perfect from the line was actually Curbelo. So everybody else missed one. DeMonte didn't take one. But everybody else was not very good from there.
I think this was probably the most consistent offensive performance they've had all season. And you can't really count the St. Francis game because that game was a joke.
Right.
When you beat a team by 58 and you score almost how many points? What were they? 1.8 points per possession or something, which is the highest in the country the entire season. So that game was a joke. But this game, you scored 23 in the first 10 minutes. You scored 23 in the next 10 minutes. You scored 23 in the next 10 minutes after that. And then you scored 24 in the final 10 minutes.
Yeah.
So very consistent. You scored 93 points on the road against a team that you would think Michigan's defense, has been nowhere near what it was last year. Like a big part of that is Wagner was a very good wing defender and Livers was a good defender. I think them losing those two, and I don't think that Devontae Jones, I don't think his defense is anywhere near what Mike Smith was doing for them last season either. So It's a Michigan defense that's not very good. I think Kofi is much more aggressive against the bigger body, slow guys, like you mentioned off air at one point. So I just think that offensively, I think this is what they can do. Now, defense is a problem. Being able to put teams away is a problem, but I also think the way that the officials call games nowadays is they're starting to call a lot more in second halves, and I think that kind of ruined the momentum. I mean, there's 39 fouls called in this game. That's a lot of fouls, and it didn't feel like at any point the refs were taking the game over those. So I guess that's good.
Right. Yeah. And that's and I think we're getting to the point where we're going to see a lot more. We're going to see more minutes out of Kofi. Kofi played 34 minutes this game. He's been averaging around 29-ish. So, but Kofi had a fantastic game. Probably player of the game if Trent Frazier doesn't hit that 3. 27 points, 11 for 15 from the field. Super efficient. Like I said, 5 and 9 from the free throw line. 7 rebounds, 1 assist, 2 steals. So I've noticed that he's getting really good at kind of picking that inbounds pass out and getting an arm around there. The only thing I worry about is maybe him fouling when he does that, or there's no reason to get a cheat foul there, but I'm okay with him doing it. A lot of people talk about Trent Frazier, he's super clutch. I think that Kofi is super clutch. It seems like when Illinois needs a basket, Kofi's making baskets
with the left hand too.
Yeah, and he got the ball late, made a nice little hook jumper or whatever. I don't know what big men call that, but whatever it was,
hook shot,
nice. Right over Dickinson, stuffed it in his son's face. But he did have 3 turnovers. Curbelo had 4 turnovers. Illinois only had 9 as a team. So he got 7 turnovers from 2 guys.
Yeah, you get 7 turnovers from 2 guys that are supposed to be big impact offensive players, and you score 93 and you're that efficient. I guess it's fine. I don't think the shots are always going to be falling like that. And you would think that a veteran coach like Martelli, who had unbelievable teams at St. Joe's, like they had some incredible teams there. And he comes into this game, had enough time to prepare for this game. He's been the assistant with Jawan the whole time. He knows what Illinois is. I'm surprised that they just were like, okay, we're not going to really try to guard Alfonso Plummer after he just had 8 threes the game before. He had a lot of good looks.
Yeah, and Plummer is knocking them down. If we keep getting this from Plummer, Illinois has a chance to make a good run.
Look at what he did at Utah. He had some huge Pac-12 tournament games at Utah. I think his best game ever in college was a Pac-12 tournament game.
Yeah, and Underwood, I think, said the other day that he's having interest from NBA guys now for Plummer because of how well he's shooting. So we'll see what happens there. But yeah, Plummer 8 of 12, 6 of 9 from 3, 4 of 6 from the free throw line, which is weird. He seems lackadaisical at the line to me. Like he just kind of throws it up there.
Is there anybody on the team that looks confident at all when they shoot free throws? Like, there's nobody.
No.
Trent doesn't look like that. Granison doesn't look like that.
Yeah. Curbelo did. I thought Curbelo did this game.
But it's just not every
usually
game.
No, yeah. 2 rebounds for Plummer, 1 assist. Brad said afterwards, quote, Plummer had as good a first half as I've seen from any player not named Mike Beasley that I've coached.
And you were so good in the first half that I decided to bench you for most second half because your defense sucks.
Yeah. And
I don't blame Brad for it. I'm not going to blame him for it. I know a lot of people are saying, like Seth Davis tweeted after the game because he finally decided to watch an entire Illinois game because he has to, because it was a CBS game. And I mean, how do you blame Underwood? Curbelo was providing enough offensively that other guys were making shots too. They were going to Kofi a lot more. They didn't need Plummer out there. So you can't blame Underwood for not playing Plummer because most of these guys saying that have not watched his defense. Him against Devontae Jones is a joke. Yeah. And Underwood had to make some adjustments with that, and it worked. But
that's Robbie Hummel. I texted you about that. Robbie Hummel said that Ivy was taking it to the hole with athletes like Plummer. And it's like, have you seen the guy play defense yet? I mean,
one small jab step and you got him. You got him beaten. One small jab step.
That was Yeah, and I don't blame Brad one bit. I mean, Curbelo is a better defender. It doesn't take much to be a better.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure that my chair over there could be a better defender
probably.
sometime.
Yeah.
So, but if Plummer can give you 24 in the first half or whatever it was, then why does it matter if he plays anymore? I mean,
I think a lot of it's
especially what was his plus minus? You sent that to me. -1.
Yeah, I think
He
he
scored 26 points and he was -1 in the plus minus category. How's that possible?
Unless that was a fake stat, then that is just unbelievable.
Yeah, that's really, really not good.
Well, I think that it comes down to who they're playing. Like if they're playing a team that has two guards that can get their own shot, I think it becomes a problem because with Michigan, it's like Brooks really wasn't doing anything offensively. And I would think that you got to match up Trent with Devontae Jones as much as you can.
Yeah.
And that they did make some adjustments to do that. But with the way that if the offense is humming like that, I don't think you need Plummer to play that much in the second half. But I think if they weren't, then Plummer would have been out there a lot more.
And I think there's places where you can plug him in. I mean, if you need a bucket or the offense is starting to struggle, but it was never struggling really.
He's like the opposite of DeMonte, but to like a bigger degree. Like DeMonte can do a little bit offensively. Yeah. Plummer really can't do anything defensively. And what we said about him in the summer coming in was he's a great shooter, not a good defender, but I compared him a little bit to Curbelo with the hands that he could get steals. And he really hasn't done that because I don't really think he had. I think he had to do stuff like that a lot more at Utah. Like they have Trent and Curbelo here now and DeMonte who can strip guys and get steals. So I don't think that he's had to do that. And speaking of the NBA for Plummer, I mean, his game fits it. Not much defense and a very good shooter. And he will have a lot more space in the NBA than he does in college.
Oh, yeah, 100%. 100%. His size maybe be
he's too old though. Also,
that's true. Yeah, he'll have to take his walker out there to play in the NBA.
Exactly.
So, Grandison 1 for 4, 0 for 2 from 3, 1 for 2 from the free throw line, 3 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists.
He's due for another letdown. Point. I mean, he was playing pretty well before.
He's still getting the ball into Kofi at a high tick compared to the other guys. I think that's where he gets most of his assists from. He did have the most assists on the team this game, so I think he does his job, and he had a couple open looks. You wish they would have fell, but they didn't. So DeMonte, 17 minutes. 1 for 3, had a really nice take to the rim, 3 rebounds. I don't think he matched up well defensively with Michigan, with Diabate and Houston. And, so I think that Hawkins, ate up a lot of DeMonte's time. I think fans have been calling for this, so I don't think the fans are going to be mad.
I don't know if they're looking for Hawkins to do it at first, but with the way he's been playing,
yeah. And that Hawkins, I mean, his numbers, they don't look great. He did play 27 minutes, like I said, 2 of 7 from the field. He made a step back 3, 6 points, 4 rebounds, but he had 3 offensive rebounds, which is huge. And he probably had the biggest rebound of the game.
That's why he's there.
That one that came off, he read that really well. I know a lot of the beat writers, I think maybe Trent Meacham or somebody who talks to those guys. Anyways, was talking about how well he read it. Anyways, and that's what he's out there for, to do things like that. He does a really good job of getting around the hoop when somebody might airball a 3, and finds a way to find the ball. So
did they figure out how to play him and Kofi together? Because I feel like we saw more of that.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I don't know why you can't.
It can't be worse than Payne at the 5, because Payne at the 5 in this game, we'll get to it in a minute, but oh my God. It's unbelievable how messed up they are when he's in there.
Yeah, he's struggling. But yeah, Hawkins, if he keeps playing like this, he's going to see more time. He seems to be playing under control a lot more. He did get
a little excited a couple of
He did get a little crazy. Yeah. But he's a high energy guy. Sometimes, the energy is unwarranted, I guess. But if he continues to play like this, it makes Illinois a lot better.
It's the offensive rebounding that you're looking for, I would say, with him, and he can do it more than somebody like DeMonte can.
Yeah, and DeMonte has shown the ability to do it. DeMonte just doesn't have the length for it, right? Yep. That's kind of the biggest thing. The other guy off the bench that was really well, Curbelo, he seemed to look like he was, I want to say back, but I don't want to go that far to say that he was, that he's back. But 5 of 7 from the field. He has that running layup, whatever, where you can't even see anything going for him. He did make a nice jumper. He also took a jumper with like 5 seconds off the shot clock when Illinois was up 5 with 1:30 left. Don't know if I like that very much, but Curbelo's just that guy, right? He's going to shoot when he's wide open, and teams are going to let him shoot, I think. So I think if he gets some confidence, if he stops doing whatever he does with his legs when he goes up for a
it's never going to stop. Here's the thing.
Just stop, please.
If anybody thought that Illinois didn't need him, I mean, you're stupid, because he's starting to play the way he was last year at this time of the year. And if you can picture both shots that he missed in this game, that means he has a good game, because he had that floating little mid-range jumper that you just talked about.
Yep.
And then it was tremendous ball movement into a wide open 3 that he shot about 5 feet over the hoop.
That he was like literally I don't get the shot.
The angle of
because
the TV showed that too.
When you see him practicing his shot, like when they showed all those videos this year, that's not what he was doing.
I don't know what it is.
Why are you doing it?
It's energy or something. Maybe he's too energized. Like he just wants to really just throw the ball at it. But I don't know.
Yeah, 12 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists for him. Like I said, he did have 4 turnovers, I believe. So clean that up a little bit, Bello. We still love you. I don't know. We didn't talk about it last time. I don't know if I'm digging the hair. I kind of missed the throw. I kind of missed the throw.
Well, as long as he can get into the lane and make layups, it's good by me.
Yeah. But, he can't jerk his head back like he got hammered and that hair, blow in the wind.
Guess that's fair, yeah.
So he did get hammered, though, against a Dickinson screen, I believe. That was pretty scary. Looked like he went down. Underwood said that he got a stinger, but he was back practicing yesterday. So
he came back in the game too. After,
yeah. So hopefully that's all good. But that it did not look good, and especially with what he's been going through with his neck and the concussion and all that, it was scary. Brad said afterwards, quote, Andre Curbelo was the Andre Curbelo that I know. He was special today. And Bello, after the game, said, I just had a good feeling. So hopefully he has more good feelings.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Going. Goody played 8 minutes, 0 for 1 rebound. He's a body, I guess, to throw in there.
Solid defender still.
You can trust him.
He had that defense
against. Need to score.
He had that defense against Terrence Williams, where it was really good defense and then just a better shot.
Yeah.
So good defender.
Yep. And then your boy Omar.
Bad defender. Yeah.
4 minutes, 2 fouls.
So two of the possessions that he's out there defensively, he's just allowing switches to where you have a guard guarding Diabate, and Diabate just does whatever he wants because Payne is just all over the place. It's just so bad. I mean, it's just he's turned into Hawkins. He's more worthless than what Hawkins was. And I hate to say it because I thought he'd be a very solid backup center for Kofi, block shots, get some rebounds.
That's what we wanted. Like, we didn't care about his offense. What's up, Steve? Thanks for stopping by.
He's a DF, which is a designated fouler. He's in there to foul.
That's true. That's true.
That's it. That's literally all he does.
It seemed like Michigan went to a little hack at Kofi late in the game. I believe Kofi made both of those free throws when they did that late in the game, though.
Yeah, teams do that because they know his free throw shooting shaky, but they also know that he's prone to lose the ball.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably smart for them to do that.
Get it to squirt out. Some other things, just to kind of touch on whatever. How do you think the defense was this game?
I didn't think it was that bad. For giving up 85 points, I really didn't think it was that bad. I thought Michigan made a lot of, whether it was transition shots or contested shots.
Yeah.
They did. Yeah. They usually do a good job against the other team's best player. I thought that if you look at the numbers in this game, I didn't think that some of Michigan's best guys had that big of an impact. I know Dickinson had 13, but he was, he was 4 for 13 from the field.
Yeah, 1 of 5 from 3.
So.
And I thought Kofi did a really good job closing out on him because that was one of our worries, right? Kofi's a little slow. I wish Kofi would put a hand up. I've been saying it since day one. Well, since the 4th game, since he didn't play the first 3. Yeah. I've been saying it since day 17 or whatever day that was.
It's about right.
When they set a screen and you come up, please just put a hand up in that guard's face. It's not that hard. It's not that hard.
Well, I said going into the game, Dickinson, whether he's making threes or not, it's going to be a big impact to whether Michigan's able to win or not, and he wasn't, so that was good. And then the other thing is, I know Houston had 21 and Jones had 25, but they both got 7 points at the free throw line. They were both 7 for 7 from the line.
Yep.
So must be nice to have your players making, free throws consistently.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
I mean, that's what Dickinson had 4 of his points from the line. So he would have been in single digits if he didn't make those free throws. So I thought this was an interesting stat. Illini stats and notes or whatever, I think, posted this on Twitter. Illinois has now won their 13th Big Ten game, marking the first time in the program history that they have went 3 straight seasons with 13-plus wins in the Big Ten.
Seems good.
I mean, Brad Underwood can coach, I guess, right?
I would put Brad Underwood as the number 1 Big Ten rebuilder in this current. I mean, I think after him, you think Peichel, and that's about it in terms of rebuilding a program.
Yeah.
From getting it to where it wasn't very good to now it's good. And Rutgers and Illinois are 2 examples of that. I don't really think there's any other. I think Penn State could maybe eventually do that, but I don't think there's any really examples of that because you look at a team like Michigan. Juwan Howard inherited a pretty good situation. He inherited a situation where Beeline, for some reason, went to the NBA. So,
yeah. Yep. And then let's see. I got a quote that doesn't really matter anymore from Brad Underwood. He said, quote, "To be in contention in the best league in the country in the last week of the season, I'll take that every year." They're not. I mean, Wisconsin would have to lose to Nebraska ball, who is on fire, by the way.
Doesn't matter.
And Illinois would have to win their last 2 games. So, I mean, I guess you call that contention being a game back or a game and a half back or whatever they are, but I don't really. Well, I mean, I don't think that you can rely on other teams to lose. And that's what Illinois fans are doing right now. They're hoping other teams lose so Illinois can win a share of the Big Ten title. And that's not a position you ever want to be in. Beat Maryland, beat Ohio State at home, and you don't worry about it. So, Brad Underwood, also congratulations, 200th career win was this game. And also interesting stat, the last 19 games against Michigan State, Indiana, Iowa, Michigan, and Wisconsin, so the big ones besides Purdue, right? Brad is 19-0.
Pretty good. I mean, these are teams that they struggle with before he got here or in the early couple teams that he had here. Yeah. Michigan State, especially one of them. Indiana, they've just dominated. Iowa has had some very good teams the last few years. Mm-hmm. Michigan has as well. Wisconsin has. And I always felt like Wisconsin and Michigan State were 2 teams that Illinois was never beating, There was a good stretch there where they were never like early Underwood days, even with Cassius Winston at Michigan State and Ethan Happ at Wisconsin, just weren't beating them. And now the script has been flipped. And these aren't all home wins either. They've gone in, and I think they have 1 road win against Iowa out of these 19. They got 1 at Michigan State. I believe they have 2 at Indiana in this stretch, unless there's 3, but I'm pretty sure it's 2 because they won there last year and this year. Michigan, they have 2 on the road. Wisconsin, they beat them there twice, I believe, or at least once. Yeah. Unless I'm thinking that they
only played Wisconsin once this year. So
yeah, and then last year they beat them at Wisconsin, and then the year before that they beat them at Wisconsin.
I think that what's his name, Dashku or whatever.
Who?
The guy on Twitter, the doctor. I think he's the one that shared this.
Shout out,
yeah. I don't know your name, but shout out to you, bud.
Yeah, he responded to one of the tweets I had
Okay.
last week on the account, so he's a fan of us, I'm sure.
All right. Yeah. So got to go to Michigan. Didn't get to, get in a fist fight with Juwan Howard, but we still beat the crap out of his team. And we move on. We try to win 2 more. Second place in the Big Ten sounds pretty good to me. So.
Yeah, a lot of huge Big Ten games in the next few days. Like, I know that first place is likely sealed up, but there's a lot of other things to be figured out. And I think last night was an example of that with Rutgers beating Indiana. Indiana, nail in the coffin. They're dead. I mean, it's embarrassing, dude. That program should not be this bad. But I like it. I don't know if you like it, but I do.
I love it.
I think it's hilarious. Trace Jackson Davis stinks. Hope he enjoys winning Big Ten Defensive Player of the Year because he probably will. Yeah. Well, actually, McConnell might win it, but I don't know.
I think McConnell should win it.
Which is BS because Frazier should win it, but whatever. Yeah. I mean, McConnell averaged 2 steals a game. Wow, he's such a good defender. I haven't seen it.
I thought he averaged like 4.
Whatever, I saw 2, but whatever.
All right, on to tonight.
Illinois.
Dropped 5 in the polls, by the way, so we went from number 15
which
to number 20.
Which is really something. I didn't think they dropped that far, but whatever. You just win 2 this week, you'll probably be like 16 going to the Big Ten tournament, something like that. It was great. I agree. The Rutgers thing, I'm sure is what he's referencing there. Illinois hosting Penn State tonight. Penn State 12-14, 7-11 in the Big Ten. That's 6 o'clock on FS1. And Penn State is coming off of a senior night loss to Nebraska by 23 points. So if you don't think that they're going to be pissed off and show up tonight.
That's scary. Yeah, I was talking to somebody the other day about, that Penn State losing, and now Illinois gets to play them. So, the good news is Penn State's not great. Illinois is playing at home. This is a game where they need to step on somebody's neck and put them away. So, Brad at the presser yesterday, it had to be yesterday, right? Said this year it's Final Four. That's the conversation we're having, those talks. You got to think it, believe it, dream it.
What was last year?
Last year, so hold on, we're getting there.
What's up, Brad? The hell?
He also said it's the time of year when it's one game and you're out. We've got to be conscious of that. I think Kofi said in the presser that the reason he came back was to make it to the Final Four. Basically said if you're not playing college basketball and your goal is the Final Four, then why are you even playing? And then Brad said this, and I mean, still bringing it up. I don't know if this is a good look or not. He said, quote, everyone in the world knows we got shafted. Talking about last year, the Big Ten. Not the right word. Right break is what he said. When you play your entire schedule and win the most games. He then added that they played in the Big Ten tournament with a chip on their shoulder, and they didn't have that once it came to the tournament. And so the emphasis has switched from win the Big Ten tournament to make a Final Four. So apparently they weren't in the mindset of get to the Final Four last year.
I got a couple.
I don't know. I'm not Brad Underwood. I don't know what he's thinking.
Number one, I don't think it's a great look to still be bringing that up last year.
I agree.
I think they got hosed. I don't really care, though. The rules were the rules, I guess. And everybody knows they proved that they were the best team in the conference by winning the Big Ten tournament at that point. Now, Michigan made a deep run in the tournament, but I also think that Michigan literally played a team that played no defense last year, which LSU was not a good defensive team last year. They flipped completely the opposite. And here's the thing with Illinois. This is just Brad trying to make up for the fact that he got outcoached in that game. Like, they didn't need – it wasn't really a case of, like, showing up and playing hard. It was a case of just getting strategically dominated. Yeah. Like, that's what happened against Loyola Chicago. It was not a case where they just didn't show up and Loyola Chicago played harder. They just played smarter and better, and matchups were – I mean, Porter Moser outcoached them. And I don't know how – this feels like him covering up for that, but whatever.
I don't know. I knew you'd enjoy that. So
if that's a way for him to get his team fired up for this year, I'm fine. And why is the goal the national championship rather than the Final Four? So whatever.
I mean, once you get to the Final Four, then you worry about it. But you got to get there before you worry about national championship.
You got to get to the Sweet 16 first if you're this team.
That's true. And I think last year was a lot of national title talk, right? It wasn't get to the Final Four. It was we're going to win the Natty.
They had to be the third or fourth most popular national championship pick last year because it was Gonzaga, it was Baylor, And then I feel like Illinois was right there with other teams in the mix for that. But
Steve says the Big Ten has been poor in the national tournament since the Big Ten tournament started.
When did the Big Ten tournament start?
Apparently 2001 or something.
How many titles does the Big Ten have since then?
Zero.
Because Michigan State won right before that?
2000. I don't know when the Big Ten tournament started, though.
Well, whatever. The Big Ten.
I mean, I went to it when I was 21, so that's at least 15 years.
It's been around a while.
Yeah.
All right. Penn State lost Nebraska on senior night, like we said. 23-point loss to Nebraska was their first double-digit Big Ten loss since January 26th at Indiana. Year one for Micah Shrewsbury. It's been marked by good defensive play and a lot of losses. So they've been good defensively. And I've said this a lot, Penn State is probably one of the programs that got shafted the most by 2020 because they had a really good team in 2020. They were, I believe, number 11 in the country when they played Illinois that year. And Illinois beat them on the road. They had that Pat Chambers, Brett Underwood, like coaches cam, no commercials game or whatever in February of 2020. So, and they had Lamar Stevens on that team. They had a very good team, and they didn't get to play in the tournament, and they've gone downhill since. So they really, you got to feel bad for them because they're one of them and kind of, I know Maryland was in it last year, but them and kind of Maryland had two really good teams that year and then didn't get to play in the tournament. So, but what can we do about it? Nothing we can do about it. So it's not Illinois' problem. Ken Palm, Illinois 17th adjusted offensive efficiency, 33rd adjusted defensive efficiency. So finally coming back down to life, making more sense with those numbers from what we've seen. They're 151st in adjusted tempo. So whatever that means. Penn State, 136th adjusted offense, 66th adjusted defense. I think their defense was actually near the top 50 a couple weeks ago, but you give up 93 points in Nebraska, it's going to hurt you for sure. 353rd adjusted tempo. So one of the slowest playing teams in the country. I don't know how that suits Illinois tonight, but I guess we'll find out.
A low scoring game.
I just don't see that. I think that Penn State's going to come out with like a super high sense of urgency because they just lost to Nebraska. They're going to want to play really fast. I don't think that they could be that team. That's why I think Illinois can jump on them early. Now the question is, can Illinois actually put them away?
Right.
Probably not, but whatever. Projected lineup, this was their lineup last game. I don't know if they'll switch it up after that game. Guards, they have Jalen Pickett, 6'4", 202. Sienna transfer, gets about 5 to 6 assists in nearly every game. Miles Dredd, 6'4", 235, solid big body defender. Dalian Johnson, 6'3", 182, sophomore, double-digit points in the last two games. I believe he had 15 and 17. I believe their last two games are Northwestern and Nebraska, so they've really been playing some good teams recently. Seth Lundy, starting at the 4, 6'6", 217, 13 points and 5 rebounds against the Illini last season. And then we all know John Har, 6'9", 240, averaging 10 and 10 this year, having his best season of his career, senior leader. So this is his last year. And he'll be greeted by Kofi to really wrap things up. So good luck.
Yeah, good luck.
Good luck. And then they have Sam Sessoms as a major impact guard off the bench. He's going to score a lot, so that's a guy to watch out for. But just show up and play well, I think, is the thing here tonight.
Yeah, I think that this is a game where you prove that you can put teams away. Kofi should have 30 and 15 tonight. I
thought the Nebraska game or the Northwestern game on Super Bowl Sunday was that game to do that because they lit them up in the first half. And didn't do so in the second. Yeah,
they haven't been doing it at all. So I think Illinois is going to – I hope they come out with a lot of what's the word I'm looking for? Fire, yes.
Intensity.
Because I think Penn State will. I think you're right, they will. I just don't think Penn State's good enough for it to matter.
Yeah, they don't strike me as a team that has a lot of offensive threats.
Yes.
Like I think Pickett's a good passer and like can probably score. I don't think Dredd's going to do much offensively. I don't think Johnson. I don't see him doing that much. They just don't have that much length either.
Yeah, and I feel like Illinois can match up with guards of this size rather than the 6'6", 6'7" guards. Seth Lundy as 6'6", he's their 4. Where Illinois, been dealing with 4s that are really good. course, he had 13 points last year.
Houston
so
and Brandon the
he'll do
last 2 games.
But yeah. So I think Hawkins, is going to see some time again. It'll be interesting to see Hawkins versus DeMonte time in this game. Of course, Grandison's going to be guarding Lundy, so he might pull into some of Grandison's time too.
How do you match up the guards here? I was thinking probably Pickett, Frazier, Johnson, Plummer, and then Dredd, DeMonte. But I think you could probably flip Pickett and Johnson. I just think that Pickett's like a veteran type guard that kind of led the team at Siena and can kind of make a lot of plays.
I think that Plummer has to guard Johnson. I mean, you have that he had double-digit points the last 2 games, but he's still averaging 4.
Yeah. So
he's
got some confidence though, and he can get even more confidence.
That is the worry, right? I mean, whoever you put Plummer on, they're gonna go after him. The difference between this
year's team and a lot of past teams before Underwood is I feel like if they were in this situation with Gross or even Weber to some degree, you worry about that coach's ability to get his team fired up in the middle of a game. Like Underwood can do that. Yeah. That's something that he does. And John Gross is just not that at all.
Yeah.
Not even close to that. Mm-hmm. And that's why I can't believe that guy was even here to begin with. What a joke. My God.
One of the worst hires in Illinois history, I think.
And surprisingly, they've rebounded fairly quickly from that. I know they had a gap where they didn't make the tournament for a while, but some programs will be in the dumps for 20 years based off of that.
Yeah.
And I know they were kind of in the dumps at some point.
I saw that. I think K-State fans have started a GoFundMe to try to get Brad to Kansas State. So
wouldn't think that's going to happen, but good luck. I think the thing there is that people don't realize, and we've talked about this before. I think on a watch party we talked about it, how they screwed him. Whenever he left to go, did he go to South Carolina with Frank Martin?
He did
for a year.
I think that, and that's what I kind of said was, do you think that he's mad that K-State went out and hired Illinois' old coach, so he came to Illinois to be like, this is what you get.
Yeah, and he's not that young either,
Yeah.
So
he probably the K-State messed up not just promoting him.
And K-State doesn't strike me as a basketball program that's going to offer him enough money for him to consider it.
No, I don't think so either.
Unless they really get that GoFundMe pumping, then I don't think they're going to have a chance.
I don't even know if that's true. I might have just made that up. So.
Well,
anyways,
I can see it. I think they're probably desperate. They haven't been good in a few years, but whatever. Predictions.
Like I said, I think Illinois shows up. They're excited. I think Kofi's going to have a great night. I got Illinois stomping the crap out of Penn State, 79-60.
I was tempted to go bigger than 12, but I went 82-70. I was kind of thinking 82-63, but I was trying to be nice. Yeah. So I don't know. I think they'll actually probably maybe score more than 82. I don't know.
Steve said he had to go, but he's got Illinois by 15 plus tonight. So
I like that. I mean, he's been one of the more accurate pickers on the program compared to us as well. So
I think they cover the spread. Is my big thing.
12.5 is what it was.
Yeah,
12. Yeah.
Yep.
Well, last time they were a 7-point favorite at home. That didn't really affect them, did it? Oh wait, yeah, it did. But this one makes more sense than the Ohio State spread did. By the way, we're about to go around the Big Ten, so let's finish the show with that. Ohio State will be without Kyle Young and Zed Key tonight against Michigan State.
Again, huh?
Both guys out. So this is a team that has lost to Nebraska and Maryland in 2 straight after beating Illinois. So predictable that they dominate and they score every time against Illinois, but then lose those 2 games. So big opportunity for Michigan State tonight. We'll see.
Michigan State kind of needs one. They lost to Michigan.
Handily.
I feel like they definitely need a win. But we talked about it earlier. Wisconsin, of course, beat Purdue, so they can't do anything worse than a share of the Big Ten title. If they would happen to lose to Nebraska and Illinois wins out, Illinois would be the 1 seed in the tournament because Illinois holds the tiebreaker with Wisconsin. Right now, how the Big Ten tournament lays out, I don't know if I'm a big fan. So you got Wisconsin playing Iowa in the first buys. Well, they're not playing each other, but on the same side. And then Illinois has Purdue on their side because Purdue's now the 3 seed.
It's hard to beat a team 3 times this season.
Well, I guess the biggest problem is they will play the winner of Michigan and Rutgers.
That's a problem.
So Illinois,
but Rutgers on a neutral floor, I'm much more comfortable with them.
Yeah,
at the rack, and Michigan too. I'm not that worried about them.
I'm not worried about Michigan. So so they're. I mean, I'm fine with the 2 or 3. It seems like they're going to be a 2 or 3 seed unless they lose the next 2 games. So
yeah. Well, here's the thing. At least they're not in a situation like a Rutgers who needs to actually win Big Ten tournament games to get into the tournament. They're comfortable. Yeah. I think there's not a difference between them being a 5 and a 4 at this point because I think that they're good enough to match up with anybody, and I don't think they're going to go into the tournament not playing well in some way. So, best case, if they can actually win these next 2 and then win the Big Ten tournament or get to the championship, then you might get a 3 seed. So I think that's the most ideal thing, but I think a 4 or 5 is worst case.
Yep. And there's still a lot of shaking out to do with the Big Ten tournament. You got Iowa and Ohio State tied at 11-7.
They both play tonight, big games.
Yep. And then you have Rutgers, Michigan State, and Michigan all with 8 losses. And then you have Rutgers with 11 wins. So
Rutgers finishes with Penn State, I believe, as well.
Yeah. So there's still a lot of movement that could happen. So nothing set but like I said, it seems like Illinois is either going to be a 2 or 3 seed. All they got to do is split one of the last.
So when does the Big Ten tournament start?
It starts next Wednesday is the first 4 games.
And that's in Indianapolis. Are they still doing a rotation at all for the Big Ten tournament? Like different places?
No. It's all at whatever Greenbrier Fieldhouse or whatever. What's it called now?
Excuse me?
What's that field house called where the Pacers play?
Banker's Life or something?
I don't know. It changes names every year, I think. So
you have Death, Taxes, and Nebraska playing on the first night of the Big Ten tournament. So those are 3 things that happen every year.
You're not wrong. But
because you're going to have a beautiful matchup between.
Just imagine if Nebraska would have gave Hoiberg that lifetime contract, 8 years, because 8 years is a lifetime now. If you don't remember with Bruce Pearl,
it's a fair point.
Lifetime contract. Beginning of the year, maybe Nebraska would have won the Big Ten.
So you're going to get interviews with the coaches and players next week, or?
Yeah, you think they'll give me a pass?
I mean, if we would have planned this out, you probably could have gotten one.
0 chance. Yeah. So I'll be in Indy. If you see me around, buy me a beer. I like Busch Light. We will be there Friday, staying Friday through Sunday. So Illinois being a 2 or 3 seed is going to be really good for us, I think, because they play in the second session, the night session. So we don't have to wake up at 7 a.m. to get over the Big Ten tournament.
We should go to the NCAA tournament next year. Not this year, next year.
Okay.
Illinois.
The Final Four?
If Illinois makes the Final Four this year, then, maybe,
I go to New Orleans?
Drop everything and go. I mean, how many opportunities? I've been to one NCAA tournament game
I've never been to one. My dad's going over to Indy this year for Thursday, Saturday. So
one of your favorite players or one of your favorite teams was playing in the Big Ten or the NCAA tournament game I went to. I think it was 2017, 2018, Wisconsin, Xavier. It was Bronson Koenig corner 3 at the buzzer to beat Xavier. So it was a good game. Worth it. Definitely worth it.
You remember that? You were like 10.
That was like 6 years ago. But it was a very last second thing. Like I didn't know I was going to that game until like 2:00 in the afternoon. The game was at like 6.
That's awesome. So, I'd love to go there.
We need to figure something out. We need a big Illini trip at some point. I mean,
yeah, definitely.
I would have gone to the Big Ten tournament this year, but it's like I have a lot of screens here. I'm covering the whole country and how it is.
Yeah.
And
You wouldn't have had
you
fun
guys
with
are a
us
party
anyways.
crew. I'm not. I'm
Yeah.
a basketball guy,
You would have
gritty
been
basketball guy,
drinking water and
watching games.
watching games on your phone.
While everybody's doing stuff. That's how it is. But big weekend next week in Indy. And the good thing is it's not that far from where we are, so it is an easy trip for people to make, especially, Champaign as well. It's not like a situation where you're in the Big East and your name a school and you got to go to MSG. I mean, that's probably a big trip for some Big East teams.
Which Illinois had to do. When did they go out to Madison Square Garden?
Are you talking about recently?
Yeah, was it like 5 years ago?
It was like
something?
Io's freshman year. Like it's Maryland, wasn't it, or something?
Sounds like 5 years ago. 4 years? Anyways.
4 years? Yeah, I think they beat him too.
Yeah. Do you want to talk about this Jaden Ivey stuff? Or
real quick? I mean, should he be first team All Big Ten? There's a lot of things being said about it. It doesn't rank in the top 5 in points, rebounds, assists, steals, or blocks per game in the Big Ten. Ant Wright tweeted this earlier. I don't think he should be. Like, I think Johnny Davis, Keegan Murray, Kofi, Liddell, and then you throw a fifth in there, maybe Edie or someone else. It feels like they deserve it more. I don't think that Ivey has lived up to what he should have been this season. I think he's still a very good player, and like Ant Wright tweeted, I think he's the best Big Ten NBA prospect this year.
Yeah.
But he's not been very good. I mean, the one game you look at and you say Jaden Ivey was the best player on the floor, no doubt about it, was against Illinois.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't think he should be. I think the conference is too deep. I think he probably will end up getting it, but I think there's other guys that you could throw in there who deserve it. And I don't know. But there's 4 locks for sure. There's 4 locks. I don't know who they throw in at the 5th. I mean, it's not going to be anybody like Branham. He didn't start playing well till late.
Yeah.
And speaking of him, I had a poll yesterday that got a huge amount of votes. I believe it was 10 votes. I didn't
see it.
I tweeted who should be the Big Ten Freshman of the Year between Malachi Branham of Ohio State and Bryce McGowens of Nebraska.
Yeah. What'd the vote come back?
I'm trying to find it here. Only 10 votes, so it's probably like a 6-4 situation.
Don't you have like 3,500 followers? What are they doing?
I got like 1,500. It's 10 votes, 7 votes for McGowens, 3 for Branham. So
okay.
People agree with me. Now, will the DIP SHITs who vote for it agree as well? I doubt it, but I think McGowens deserves it.
Yeah, and you texted me that, and I said Branham right off the bat. Just
it's
boom.
What you think, and then you look at the numbers and you look at the
and then I'm like, well, and I look at he put up 31 against Illinois too. It's kind of a big part of it.
Yeah,
but yeah, McGowens has definitely been the better player. Overall, he probably draws every team's best defender on top of that, where like Branham has EJ Liddell that usually gets that. So yeah, I think McGowens is probably the guy that should get it. Will he get it? I don't know because he plays for Nebraska ball.
Super consistent. Like 26 against Ohio State, efficient as well. In that game, he was 8 for 15 from the field. Then he went 8 for 13 from the field with 25 against Penn State. And like you said, it's a great point. He's going to draw the best team's defender every time.
Yeah.
He doesn't have that guy with him. You look at Nebraska's team; they don't have anybody that is really that big of a threat offensively. Now his brother has been that in his college career in the past, but he hasn't really done very much since coming back. I mean, Trey McGowens is playing 25, 30 minutes a game and just not really doing anything. So,
right.
I think McGowens would definitely get my vote. I'm not sure if it's actually going to happen, but I mean, will Nebraska beat Wisconsin is the final thing here. I mean, no, I think is the answer. If it's close, something's going to happen where Wisconsin has like a bank 3 or some BS.
100%.
And
100%.
real quick,
Chucky Hepburn, shout out to him though, got an NIL deal off that bank in 3 with Players Trunk. So money in the bank shirts are coming.
He's going to be a very Demetric Trice-like guard in a couple years from now. So he's going to be a bit of a problem. And him coming back next year, they'll still be fine next year because I think Wall will be back as well. And they're kind of a team that doesn't need a big force in the middle to win right now. Like they used to have that. I think they thought Micah Potter was that last year, and he wasn't. But Ethan Happ was that a few years ago. So they've had those guys in the past. But final thing, how much is Matt Painter screwing over his own team?
18 billion%. I don't
And
know.
we've talked about this in games they won. We talked about it the first Illinois game against them. Like, his coaching in the second half makes no sense.
Yeah. I believe somebody tweeted out during that Wisconsin game that that Purdue was, and I know Edey was in foul trouble, but they were like plus 16 with Edey, and they were like minus 11 with Williams in. Like, Travion Williams was struggling that game, and he still got a ton of minutes. So, and I know Edey was in foul trouble, and I hate Davidson, like, probably as much as every other Illinois fan or Big Ten fan or whatever. But man, that dude makes some smart plays down the stretch. When he basically stopped in front of Edey, and Edey fell over him, and then there was that play, which I thought was it was not a great call in my opinion, but he came running up as he saw the Purdue player coming and fell down, and it was a moving screen or something. But
I don't hate him as much as everybody else does. I don't know why.
I can't stand him.
I think Mulcahy rubs me more the wrong way than
Mulcahy.
Throwing punches.
He's got to be suspended a game, right?
Doubt it.
I mean,
I think you could
a game.
You can interpret that two ways, though. It kind of looks like a basketball play from one angle, and then from the other angle, it looks like a left hook to the face.
There was nothing basketball.
It's not a basketball play, but like not intentional, I should say.
I mean, he got a flagrant too.
I think the basketball play thing in my head is all those stupid refs talking about it, and it's just like, oh, he didn't make a basketball, whatever. Yeah.
But what a way to try to lose the game for your team.
It's true. And Ron Harper Jr. saved his ass. He better get something for Ron Harper Jr. saving his ass twice, because he made the shot and made the defensive play.
Yeah.
So most hated players in the Big Ten right now, who are your three?
Davidson.
Davis probably too.
Johnny Davis.
And Jordan Davis.
Just because they cloned Johnny Davis.
Three Wisconsin guys.
You know, it used to be Mulcahy, but I kind of like Mulcahy now.
Because he actually learned how to actually play basketball?
Maybe. I would say probably
I feel like Davis is a guy that you
McCaffrey, but he doesn't play anymore. Like he's riding the Pine Pony. So
wouldn't you like a guy like Davison on Illinois? Like if they
I would absolutely love him if he played for Illinois.
Maybe Luke Goody becomes that guy, but not like as kind of dirty.
Yeah, I say that, but I'm not a big fan of like Coleman Hawkins BS that he does sometimes too. So
that's fair. I mean, we're very classy fans, at least us two.
Davidson, like I said, as much as I don't like him, he's a very smart player.
Well, he's been there for 20 years.
And I think that's why you don't like guys like that when they don't play for you. So
yeah, and also
he also almost lost that game for him because he kept taking fadeaway 16-footers. So
the blatant dirtiness as well. But anyway, all right, that'll do it for us. Episode 104. I'm not sure when we'll do 105. Maybe we'll just double up and do tomorrow like we did last week, or just wait till Sunday since it's a later game.
I can't do Sunday, so it's gonna either have to be
we'll do
tomorrow or
Saturday is a huge day in college. So we'll get it out of the way tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll do it tomorrow.
All right, episode 105 tomorrow. We'll review tonight's game, and then we will discuss the season finale against Iowa, and we'll see you tomorrow. Illini Basketball Podcast 105